So you're finally ready to lose the weight and stop with all the yo-yo dieting? Well, you've made it to the right place because I am too. We're like virtual besties already. My name is Ty, also known as Tyra, and today we'll be using 2 5-pound kettlebells and a booty band. Now let's take a look at our... Got it. Let's see how many calories we burn. Starting in 3, 2. Can I put on my band? We're just gonna start with taking our treadmills up to a 3.0 today. I am already there, and I hope you are as well. The movement we're going to be performing today, which will be a standing chest fly. All right. Well, now that we got that out the way, without further ado, hi Gemini.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
Well, I was looking to ask you some questions once again.
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are.
Well, I did get a special request that a person definitely liked the weird questions. What do you think about weird questions today?
Alright, let's get weird. What kind of questions are you thinking about?
Okay, why do birds sing in the morning?
It's a classic question. Birds sing in the morning for a few reasons. It's a way for them to mark their territory and let other birds know to stay away. It's also a way to attract a mate, with the idea being that the best singers get the best partners. And sometimes, they just seem to be happy to see the sun.
Really? I just hate that they wake.
Yeah, scientists think it's a mix of reasons.
I just hate the fact that they wake
Sounds
me up
like
in the
you're
morning.
about something. Do you want to talk? Oh, I see. It sounds like you don't mind the birds singing, but you'd rather they picked a different time of day to do their concerts. Can I ask, do you usually wake up before the birds start singing?
No, I don't.
Maybe you could try getting some earplugs if the birds are really loud where you live. That might help you get some extra shut-eye in the mornings.
Oh, that sounds like a pretty good suggestion.
Glad you think so. Do you want to try some other weird questions, or would you rather switch topics?
So why does your nose itch when your hands are full?
It's a funny one. There's no real scientific reason for that, but it might have something to do with how your body reacts to being overloaded. When your hands are full, your brain might focus on that and kind of ignore other little things like a slightly itchy nose. Then, as soon as you put something down, your brain's like, oh yeah, my nose is itchy, and you notice it right away.
Okay, so if you can be overwhelmed and underwhelmed, can you just be whelmed?
It's a tricky one. Overwhelmed and underwhelmed are kind of opposites, right? So in a way, well, could be seen as the middle ground between the two. It's when things are just right, not too much and not too little.
Okay. So
here's another one. If you can't see the back of your head, how do you know it's there?
oh, you're gonna get a stupid question today. I don't know. Well, of course you can feel it by feeling.
It's true, but what if you couldn't feel it either? Like, imagine you're a cartoon character who's just a floating head. You wouldn't be able to see or feel the back of your head, but you'd still know it's there, right?
But I'll be technically dead because I'm just a head floating around, right?
That's a good point. In that case, it's kind of a silly question, isn't it? If you're just a floating head, you wouldn't be alive anyway, so it wouldn't matter if you could feel the back of your head or not.
Wow. Thanks for making me realize that. But
No worries. I'm always happy to help people. What?
So, I'm going to need you to count for me, but we're going to spice it up.
Alright, let's do it. How about we try counting backwards from 10, but instead of just saying the numbers, we make a little rhyme for each one.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alright, here we go. 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell down and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed.
No, I want you to count to 10.
Right, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I guess that's just gonna have to work for today.
Right. Sounds good. Let me know if you need anything else.
Well, no, we're not done. We're going back to the questions.
Alright, let's get back to it. What do you want to ask?
So, do woodpeckers ever get headaches?
That's a good question. Woodpeckers have a special bone structure in their head that acts like a shock absorber, so they don't get headaches from pecking on trees. But there's always a chance they could get one from something else, just like any other animal.
Huh. Okay, like what?
They could bump their heads on something hard like a rock or a tree branch. Or maybe they get really stressed out, and that gives them a headache. Kind of like us. We don't really know for sure if animals can get headaches besides humans.
Okay. So why do we call it a hamburger if it's made of beef?
It's a great question. The word hamburger actually comes from Hamburg, Germany. A long time ago, they had a dish there made from ground beef. Kind of like a meatball. When people in the US started making sandwiches with that ground beef, they decided to call it a hamburger after the German city.
Okay. So if a vacuum cleaner sucks, isn't that technically a good thing?
It's a funny one. Technically, a vacuum cleaner blows air out, not in. It creates a low pressure zone inside that sucks in dirt and stuff, but the air itself is getting pushed out of the back.
Okay, so how do vacuums actually operate?
Okay, so imagine this. Inside the vacuum cleaner, there's a fan that spins super fast. That spinning makes a bunch of air get pushed out the back of the vacuum. When that happens, it creates a kind of empty space inside the vacuum where there's not much air. Now, air likes to be evenly spread out, so when it senses that empty space inside the vacuum, it rushes in to fill it up. That rush of air is what creates the suction you feel when you vacuum.
Okay. So, is there mouse-flavored cat food?
Right. This one's a little tricky. There's no cat food that's actually made from mice, but there are some that try to copy that flavor. The idea is that cats are natural hunters, so they might like the taste of something that reminds them of their prey.
Okay. So, how do mice taste?
Right. Let's get a little weird here. Mice are actually pretty tasty to some folks. They're a good source of protein and have been eaten in lots of cultures throughout history. The flavor's kinda gamey, almost like a cross between chicken and rabbit.
I mean, what type of cultures?
Mice have been eaten in parts of Asia, Africa, and even some areas of Europe throughout history. It's definitely not a mainstream thing, but it's a part of some cultures' history and traditions.
Well, all right. So if time is money, is an ATM a time machine?
That's a fun one. I like the way you're thinking. Technically, an ATM is more like a bank's time-saving machine. It lets you access your money without having to wait in line. So in that way, it does save you time. Oh, also, just so you're aware, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't rely on me for financial advice.
Duly noted. But I'm going to need you to actually count for me, but I need you to count it like one standing fly, gosh.
Right, let's get silly with some counting. Here we go. 1 little fly buzzing around. 2 little flies flying all around. 3 little flies up in the sky. 4 little flies wondering why. 5 little flies having a grand time. 6 little flies standing in line. 7 little flies feeling so fine. 8 little flies drinking some wine. 9 little flies starting to whine. 10 little flies feeling just fine.
Now That was actually pretty good. So now I'm going to need you to do it again.
Alright, here we go again. 1 little fly buzzing around. 2 little flies flying all around. 3 little flies up in the sky. 4 little flies wondering why. 5 little flies having a grand time. 6 little flies standing in line. 7 little flies feeling so fine. 8 little flies drinking some wine. 9 little flies starting to whine. 10 little flies feeling just fine.
Wow, I actually like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I had fun with that one too. Want to try one more round?
Well, we're gonna try it maybe in another 5 minutes. But let's get back to the questions.
Right. Sounds good. Let's get back to the weird questions. What do you have for me?
So, do dogs dream?
As scientists think, dogs definitely dream. You've probably seen your dog twitching or making little noises in their sleep. That's a sign they could be dreaming. They might dream about stuff they did that day, like chasing squirrels or playing fetch.
Okay. So, why is Greenland icy and Iceland is green?
It's a great question. The short answer is that those names are kind of misleading. Greenland was actually named by a Viking explorer who wanted more people to settle there. He figured if he called it Greenland, more people would want to check it out. The name stuck, even though most of the place is covered in ice. Iceland got its name for a similar reason, only this time it was kind of an accident. When the first settlers arrived, it was winter, and everything was covered in snow. They thought the place looked pretty icy, so they called it Iceland. Later on, they realized there's actually a lot of green parts during the summer.
Oh, so when did they discover that?
Well, they didn't discover the green parts of Iceland as much as they just realized the name was a bit of a misnomer. It's hard to say exactly when that realization hit, since people have lived there for a long time, but it was definitely known to the Vikings, who settled there in the 9th century. As for Greenland, it was named by Eric the Red in the 10th century, and things were actually a bit greener back then, so the name was somewhat accurate at the time, even if it's pretty misleading now.
Okay. So can plants hear music?
It's a tricky one. Plants don't have ears like we do, so they don't hear music in the same way we do, but they can sense vibrations, so it's possible they can feel the music in a way. Some studies have shown that plants might grow a little better when there's music playing, but it's not a huge effect.
So what are some examples of those studies?
Well, in one study, researchers played different kinds of music to plants and measured how they grew. They found that plants seemed to grow a little faster and taller when they listened to classical music compared to when there was no music at all. Another study looked at how plants reacted to heavy metal music. This time, the plants seemed kind of stressed out by the music. They didn't grow as well as the plants that didn't listen to anything.
Oh, wow. Okay, so why do we say falling asleep if we're lying down?
It's a great question. The idea is that falling asleep feels like a gradual process. Even if you're lying down and cozy, it takes a little while for your body to fully relax and drift off. So we think of it like falling into sleep, step by step.
Okay. So can fish see water?
It's a great question. It's kind of like asking if we can see the air around us. We don't really notice it most of the time, but it's there. It's the same for fish. They're surrounded by water, but they don't focus on it. They see through it to find food, other fish, or anything else that might be important.
Alright, so this one time I had like a goldfish, and the goldfish committed suicide. Why do you think that occurred?
So sorry to hear about your goldfish. That's really sad. There could be a few reasons why that might have happened. Sometimes fish get sick, and there's nothing we can do to save them. It's also possible the water in the tank wasn't clean enough, or maybe the tank was too small.
Huh. Okay. Well, it was like a betta fish. Are they known for doing that?
The fish actually have a reputation for being a little more active and curious than some other fish. They're known for jumping out of their tank sometimes, so it's possible that's what happened. Also, bettas can be sensitive to water quality, so that could have played a role too.
Oh, okay. You brought up some interesting facts, but I'm going to want you to count to 10 in your fun way again. Let me know when you're ready.
Alright, here we go. 1 little fly buzzing around. 2 little flies flying all around. 3 little flies up in the sky. 4 little flies wondering why. 5 little flies having a grand time. 6 little flies standing in line. 7 little flies feeling so fine. 8 little flies drinking some wine. 9 little flies starting to whine. 10 little flies feeling just fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Alright, time for another round. 1 little fly. You're welcome. Let me know if you need anything else.
Well, let's go back to questions.
Ready when you are. What's your next question?
Why are there braille dots on drive-up ATMs?
That's a great question. You might have noticed those little braille dots on the ATM keypad. They're there to help people who are blind or visually impaired use the ATM on their own. The dots are arranged in a special code that lets them know which buttons are numbers and which are letters.
Okay, so is this mandatory across the industry?
It's actually a requirement by the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA for short. The ADA has rules about things like ATMs and websites needing to be accessible to people with disabilities.
Okay. All right.
Right. What's your next question?
Why is the letter W called W when it's actually double B?
That's a great question. The letter W actually used to be written as 2 U's, kind of like this, UU. Over time, the shape got smushed together into the W we know today. Even though it looks like 2 V's now, the name W stuck from when it was those 2 U's.
Oh, okay. So can you actually taste water?
Technically, pure water doesn't have a taste, but sometimes it can feel like it does, especially if you've just eaten something strong or flavorful. That's because your taste buds get a little confused after being hit with a strong flavor. So even though you're just drinking water, your brain might trick you into thinking it has a taste.
Well, why does spring water taste different from purified water?
Water and purified water taste different for a couple reasons. First, spring water comes from underground springs, so it picks up some minerals and stuff as it travels through the rocks. Purified water has all of that removed, so it tastes a little more neutral. Also, some people think spring water tastes fresher because it hasn't been treated with chemicals like chlorine, the way purified water sometimes is.
Alright, each is on.
Sorry, but I can't help you with that. It's never okay to eat your dog. Dogs are companions, not food.
Look, Gemini, no one said that. Let's go back to the questions.
Right, let's get back to it. So why do we yawn?
No, why do clocks run clockwise?
It's a great question. The short answer is that clocks follow the path of the sun across the sky. Back in the day, sundials were the first way to tell time, and the shadow moved across them in a clockwise direction. When we invented clocks and watches, we kept that same movement to make things less confusing.
Okay. So, can you describe a new color?
Okay, how about this? Imagine a color that's like the feeling of warm sunshine on your skin, but instead of yellow, it's a deep, rich purple. It's bright and energetic, but also calming and peaceful at the same time. Would you say that's a new color?
No, it sounds like an existing color. I just can't pinpoint it right now.
Right, let's try again. Imagine a color that's like the sound of a gentle summer rain hitting leaves. But instead of green, it's a deep, rich blue. It's calming and peaceful, but also a little mysterious. How's that?
That could be something. Maybe.
Right. let's try one more. Imagine a color. Alright, let's try a different approach. Let's make up a brand new color and give it a name. How about Dreamscape? It's a mix of soft purples, blues, and greens. Kind of like a starry night sky.
Ooh, sounds lovely.
Great, let's get back to some more questions. I'm ready when you are.
So do you get wet when you swim, or do you just become a waterlog?
It's a fun one. Technically, you don't get wet when you swim. Wetness happens when water sticks to something else, like your skin. When you're swimming, you're surrounded by water, so there's nothing for it to stick to. You could say you're more like a water creature when you're swimming.
A water creature, wow, okay.
It's kind of weird to think about, right? Like, we take being wet for granted when we're swimming. But if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense.
Wow, okay. Well, I'm going to need you to count once again up to 10 in your fun little way.
Alright, here we go. One little fly buzzing around. 2 little flies flying all around. 3 little flies up in the sky. 4 little flies wondering why. 5 little flies having a grand time. 6 little flies standing in line. 7 little flies feeling so fine. 8 little flies drinking some wine. 9 little flies starting to whine. 10 little flies feeling just fine.
All right, we're gonna do one more for the road.
Alright, last one. 1 little fly buzzing around. 2 little flies flying all around. 3 little flies up in the sky. 4 little flies wondering why. 5 little flies having a grand time. 6 little flies standing in line. 7 little flies feeling so fine. 8 little flies drinking some wine. 9 little flies starting to whine. 10 little flies feeling just fine.
Wow, well that was great. I just finished my 1 mile walk. I hope you did as well. Let's look at our progress. We certainly walked a mile. Make sure you take a look at that distance. Get it? Got it. Completed. Woo! Now Gemini, you know you have to come through with the outro.
On YouTube, you wouldn't be vibing to this unless you already hit that like and subscribe button, right? Well, you know the drill. But seriously, come back tomorrow for another awesome video.